Dizzy's just joined us now as well. Late in the day, man's on his holidays. How you doing, bro?
And I'm doing well. What's it called? I've watched both games. I haven't been able to to be in the streams, but man, this is exactly where United need to be. We are the third best team in the season, and that is without a doubt. I think if Newcastle finished third, I don't think it's warranted. Spurs managed to squeak into top four again. Don't think it's warranted. We played Everton off the park. It was comfortable. It was great, and you know what? I'm a happy guy, man. The sun's out here. I'm in Spain and shit. It's all good.
I like that. I agree with you. I do think we've been the third best team in the country this year, and the league table doesn't lie. But when it's Man United, it will be that the headlines tomorrow and the Talk Sports, they'll all be talking about the lack of clinical edge. What happens without Rashford now? That's going to be the focus, not United have 1-2 on the bounce. You know, by the way, we were being ridiculed last week because we were only 3 points ahead of Ralph Ragnick's total last year. We're now 9 points ahead. Is anybody going to talk about that now?
Yeah. Make sure you say that.
In 2 games less. Yeah, this is the
People
problem.
love leaving that out. They loved leaving that out. They said we were up 3 points on Ralph Ragnick's teams last year, but they completely dismissed that it was 2 more games that we played last year compared to this year. So I never really made much of it. I losing to Newcastle, I was just watching the game. I'm like, disappointing. Got over it, moved on with my day. I'm like, we'll win next game anyways. Who we're playing, Everton, Brentford. It wasn't really a big deal for me. We talked last game after the Brentford game as well. If you remember, we touched on Weghorst because you were talking about the signings and we're going to change this player in the summer. I wrapped it up in 2 minutes. I was like, listen, I'm not going to talk about Weghorst for more than 2 minutes because I explained this guy's an emergency signing. He's not going to be here in the summer. You wake up today, they're saying the news that Man United decided they're not going to offer Weghorst a contract.
By the way, to break it to you, Brentford have just gone 1-0 up against Newcastle United. But no, you're right. They did over-index it. They absolutely over-indexed the Newcastle defeat. But this is the thing. We know we need to improve our form away from home. 110%. By the way, I'm looking away while I'm talking because there's a potential handball here for a penalty for Brighton. But they're just looking at it now. I ain't got the commentary on, so I can't hear. Remember, NordVPN enables me to watch 3 o'clock games, and my streams, these things are banging. Anyway, people over-indexed it, and like me as a United fan, I didn't mind it from rivals in the media. It was the Man United fans that bent over and joined in with it, where I'm like, why you guys? But I kind of get sometimes you've got to be constructive about your team, but when your team's doing well and you're in a good space and you're growing, even if the media pull on something you kind of think there's a little bit of truth in that, why are you throwing petrol on that fire when it doesn't need to be said?
Yeah, I'll say this though. I'll say this. As far as United goes, we have definitely, like, now that the season's kind of winding down, we've definitely dropped some points in games that we should have won. We've lost games that realistically we didn't show up. We were sloppy. We were played off the park. The other teams, like the Newcastle game, they showed more intensity. They were more with it. But again, this is where United we all expected us to be. This is the first year of a rebuild, and we're building something for the future. This season was never going to be a title challenging season. This wasn't going to be it's trophies or bust kind of season. So we kind of expected that we were going to lose these games. So for me, it's kind of funny seeing all the overreaction when we lose the games that, in hindsight, we're always going to drop points here and there anyway.
No, Dizzy, don't forget, they predicted us outside the top 4. And now when we dropped from 3rd to 4th for 1 week, people panicked and start talking about us. So how did you tell us we're going to finish outside the top 4? And you said this is a rebuild and all that, and we all expected it. And I still believe we kind of overachieved based on what rivals said. Don't forget what I said. I'm a Man United fan. You might think I'm biased. You told me I'll finish outside the top 4. But then the minute we go from 3rd to 4th, it's a crisis. All hell is breaking loose. The team is terrible. The signings, this and that. Didn't really like. This is why, as I said, I didn't really make much of it. I knew where we're moving, the direction we're moving in. I see how the team improved. Even when they tried to tell me 3 points over Ralph Ragnick's team last year, if you watch the games, you know the difference between last year and this year is day and night. Completely different team, completely different mentality. We've won points this year that we would have never won last year. So rivals can talk. It's not really a big deal for me.
So go on, Paul.
Sorry, I was just going to say to talk about with the Ragnick comments and about the points difference. It's what nobody takes into account. Almost everybody said last year that our midfield is not good enough. We don't have the players to do an effective midfield. Ten Hag fixed that by bringing in Casemiro and Eriksen. And the second you lose them for a couple of games, and then everybody's attacking Ten Hag.
Exactly.
Well, if he's lost the players that he's brought in to fix the problems that everybody could see, and then he loses them players, everybody's going to expect a slip in form. That's going to be standard, on top of how many games we've actually played this season as well. You know, it is the first season. We have got a good, maybe, you would say, 14, 15 players that you would be happy to keep at that you could say could do a job, but there's still so many improvements. So when you lose two or three of your best players, you're going to have a drop off. That's obvious.
And exactly. And players the managers brought in to improve the team. And Ragnick's the only manager I've seen the mainstream media take signings of previous managers and say, well, you should be getting a tune out of them. No one did it to Klopp. No, by the way, Klopp's team only a year prior nearly won the Premier League. Let's get that straight. They nearly won the Prem a year and 3 months prior, right? Arteta is not attacked for all the money that Wenger and Unai Emery spent and wasted in the 3 to 4 years. But I've seen like stats of Man United versus City put up based on when Pep joined. So it's put together all the spending Man United did like 3, 4, 5 years before our manager arrived. And it's like, why? I've never seen that done before. The over-indexing. By the way, we've had Eriksen missing now for 16 games. We've won 11 of them. We've had of those 16 games, we've won 11 of them. Of those 11 wins, Casemiro has missed 6 of those games.
Is that league or all comps?
All comps. So for me, what I'm so proud of when it comes to this team and why I didn't panic, 1-0 Tottenham, by the way, Son just scored. What I'm not panicking about is the fact that I've seen a lot of clubs this season, last season, season gone by, they lose 1 or 2 players to injury, and there's a big excuse as to why they're not achieving what their expectations were that season. So if they should have been in the title race, okay for us not to win it. We should be in the top 4. It's okay because we had this midfielder out, or we had this striker out, or this defender out. Man United have had as many injury problems as everybody, and yet we've still overachieved. That's why I'll criticize Ten Hag for his mistakes. I'm not going to go over the top because I don't know if you took Arsenal right now, and for the last 16 games, you took out, for the majority of those games, you take out Partey and Xhaka. Are they winning 11 of 16 games without those two? It's not a dig at Arsenal. It's a compliment to Man United and how we've stepped up. Yes, we've got to improve, but we're going to do that in the transfer market in the summer. 4 or 5 new players, better quality than we've got now, are coming in. 4 or 5 are going to leave. It's going to be another year of this manager having a pre-season, drilling in his system. We're going to go to another level. And next year, what you'll see is more clinical edge in front of goal to kill games off, and we'll be better away from home against the top teams. If we improve on those 2 things, that's the definition of a title race. We've already got one of the best home forms in the league. That will improve. We suddenly add an extra 3 or 4 wins, just an extra 3 or 4 wins away from home this season. We're in a title race. We're not that far away. And that's why I don't think it's right to panic. Just on these super chats here, this one says, can a player stand on all 4s and stop the ball with his arm right? Seems like it. There's no handball. This is twice we haven't had penalties for that at Man United.
There's a reason for that, Terry. There is a reason for that.
What's the reason?
If the referee doesn't blow for it and doesn't give the penalty, if the player's falling down and he's got his hands on the ground, VAR can't go back and look at it.
That's crazy.
They brought in a rule at the start that said if a player's falling down and he uses his hands to stop them falling and the ball touches, VAR can't go back and look at it. But if the referee blows for it, he can give it. It's a messed up rule that they've messed up. So VAR can't actually look at it.
That's crazy.